Big Boss Chuck. My 750. I'm messing with my recorder. They can do this digitally, but I don't know why. I think it's my recorder. Big Boss Chuck, day 9 of the protest. I know, bad start out. Well, hey, I'm doing it again. It's overcast. Here on the My 750, El Poderoso 750 kilohertz AM en el radio. Soy yo, el gran jefe de los jockeys del discos. Radio Rebelde. Continuando. Yeah, it's more Rebelde. There aren't any rebels around here, no reds. And that's just fine because I'm not sure who's on that group. I'm through. I'm getting out of here. I'm getting a radio. Yeah. I understand the power structure inside of the Yankee place, the Yankee states. National security leads the way. I'm being held a slave. They know. I'm so frustrated. They get paid to hold me a slave. They're right up there on the 3rd floor. Sexually assaulted me. And have me out here playing bozo. Side of the road, walking up and down the sidewalk. (10:02), continuing on. Our God, right here inside, Father in heaven. Allah, one only God, helping me with the rhyme. We do it line by line. And I'm going to do this another day. Out here, day 9 of the protest. Yep. Interesting show. It's quite angering standing out here as there's some men up there who sexually assaulted me are being protected by U.S. national security. They are United States Fed agents, F.B.I. special agents, being protected under U.S. national security. 10:02, center screen, blue rain parka. This is back to the inauguration speech analyzing. I'm an analyst, and I need a proofread, so I'm just going over the poem. I'm going to send it over to U.S. Copyright Registry maybe this weekend if I get all the flaws out of it. And the FBI, they don't mind. I've never been told that they're informants. All I know is when they rat out someone else and they need to get operations on their face to change their identity, they must be a serious. There must be a reason. And they check in with the FBI regularly. I wonder what that technically makes them. Well, I have a list of those people. Yeah, and no one cares, and they're listening to me. And you're leaving me out here without a radio. Oh, because real soon I'm going to publish those also. Send them into the U.S. Copyright Registry and a copy to the AIM movement. Even though they probably don't care 41 years later. I think there's a man in prison who cares a bit. He's been there ever since, 42 years. He's 17, that was 75. Oh, a whole roster of team players. The ones that ratted him out so they could avoid going to prison. But I already mentioned how it happened. I'm just throwing it their way today. Yankee Sam set them up. Poison their water supply. Use the torture techniques out of the dam, the MK Ultra techniques. Get them doing more and more abuses. There's a whole story. What happened in the white trailer. That's where Pelletier was. And that's why Yankee Sam says and him among others. The ones that ratted out Pelletier, they were in that trailer also. And that's why how Yankee Sam had them, blackmailed them. Was one of the reasons. 10:02, center screen, blue rain parka. Behind was a KGB woman. She had on a military-style cap. On the front of the hat was a KGB-style symbol. Her face marked repeatedly by hand holding, what? You want some names? By hand holding the U.S. flag, waving back, also forth. Flagged movements were computer generated. KGB signified They were among the crowd behind the soon-to-be national symbol, the U.S. flag. (10:03) Center. With a bit to the right-hand side of the screen, crime, family-style hat, Theodore. Hand in crowd raised a white cap. Waved hat served as a marker for the crime family member. Also served to mark the cowboy hat wearer in front of the white cap. Next, the cowboy hat wearer, female and Theodore, crime family hat that showed us analysts crime family hats are behind the cowboy hat. So I want to say Theodore is a Theodora, and I write it wrong because they give me the wrong information again and again on the computer. I'm still not sure. 10:11 Image of the crowd with the U.S. flag. Displayed flag waved in the proper direction, meaning right to left, not left to right. Yankees read from left to right. When the flag waves to the other direction, things are out of place, or could signify things are going awry. 6 corporations computer generated the flag to fly in either direction depending on the need. Another technique for training analysts to be aware of. 10:15 to 10:19. Brown trench coat, a big smile on his face. Trump's words: "We will bring back our jobs. We will bring back our borders. We will bring back our wealth." Factories were closing at a fast rate in the 80s during the recession. One known as the recession was before the Great Second Recession. These names they come up with. Factories closing jobs. Fleeing is nothing new. Something been going on decade after decade. In the 80s, if you study the 80s, there was a big recession for many years. And look at the argument, what they tie. It's as if when they want to do it one way, the recession only ties to African Americans and the much needed jobs. They're playing with the words. Let's see where we at. I work in politics along with many other issues. I approach the topic as if I am doing fractions. I look for the commonalities, put them into the common denominators, assess the situation, look at the problem, then come up with the solution. Yankee Society, the problem isn't identified. Troubling issue isn't mentioned. No one solves the equation because the problem hasn't been mentioned. I'll help you, Yankee. Modern day is a global society. Yankee needs to compete in a global market. Develop enrolled wages, how can Yankee expect to compete? They haven't come to the realization. Menial labor, or even most blue-collar work in the developing world, is around $1 an hour. Depending on the center regions, can be much less. What am I talking about? I don't know, I'll have to pre-read that. Depending on their situation's needs, ask yourself, Yankee, how's a factory going to compete if they're paying minimum $10 an hour? That's without including OSHA, workman's comp, health care benefits. Comes out for the employer $15 an hour. Yankee, how are your factories going to put out same quality product for the same price? Labor, oftentimes, is one of the main costs of making a product. How would the discrepancy in wages with the same product being made, how would this discrepancy be accounted for? Government subsidies to compensate for the burden? There is no answer. Blue-collar work has the worth of what it is on the global market. Yankee hasn't become aware that soon they're impoverished, along with much of the middle class, will soon live such as the impoverished along with the middle class in developing countries. This is what the leaders of the pyramid have planned. They term this system the global order. Some call the system new. In actuality, it's an old order. Established families that go way back hundreds of years, predominantly Caucasian families. 1021 to 1024. Trump's words, "We will bring back our dreams." As Donald talked, the camera shook. Remember, the 6 corporations have a high budget. The camera shook. Brown trench coat's face was visible. His arm clearly passed the banister, obscured the red part of the carpet, letting our subconscious know he was part of the red. Brown trench coat clapped his hands. 1027. The image of a crowd appeared. Nationalist beanie hats used as markers. Child located bottom left-hand side of the screen had on one. 2 nationalist hats seen top right-hand side of the screen. Behind the 2 nationalist hats, a Donald red cap. On that had great written above the bill. Left-hand side of the screen, woman had, the wind just blew my paper. Woman had a nationalist beanie on. She was also wearing Hillary's aqua. African Americans' eyes will lock in on the aqua. They then see a Caucasian with a nationalist beanie. Next to her, a blonde woman with a light-toned face. In front of her was a child with a nationalist beanie. So the beanie in front, also behind the woman, served as markers. Beanies mark the blonde woman. Subconscious eye connects the dots, meaning similar patterns, also colors. Subconscious eye will also connect the hats from the right upper corner of the screen with the previous mentioned beanies, which mark the blonde standing in between them. This is how they do it. This is how the hits were sent. They use markers, flags, to lead to the mark. The mark, you know who the mark is. That's who gets it. That's where the hit's placed. This is DIA, CIA programming. Get the code, get the code. Learn how to decipher and you'll know where to go. Next to the blonde in the center of the screen was a Caucasian male. His eyes weren't wide, making them appear not kind. He had on a white upper with a black derby facing backwards. African Americans see the blonde, fills them with rage. Then see her other. That fuels the African Americans, more. They associate all that with the nationalist symbols. Beanies red with white including blue. African Americans will leave the Union soon. Among the crowd, there are various individuals peering the wrong way. Individuals are used as markers. They're looking at the right side of the screen, cause the subconscious to wonder why. In the image of more or less 20 people, one located top middle of the screen was African American. He had on a yellow parka, was a male with sunglasses on. Good afternoon, ma'am. Man in front of him was one of the previously mentioned individuals. He was a Caucasian, blonde-haired. His head was facing the right side of the screen. Looked out of place. African American appeared to be alone, part of his chin obscured by the marker's blonde hair. We perceive this to mean African Americans are present in the role as an observer, not part of Donald's group. Yellow tells us there the African Americans are in danger, being warned. And I should say the subconscious eye perceived, not we. All of our subconscious eye perceived. That's where the code goes. And what deciphers, that's the subconscious eye. 1027. That's how it's deciphered. Where it's downloaded to. Into the subconscious. Perceived by the subconscious eye. 1029. Donald's words. We will build new roads, new highways, bridges, airports, tunnels, railways, all across his wonderful nation. As those words were spoken, Brown Trenchcoat smiled, turned his attention to the left-hand side of the screen.